Welcome to Toadfather Plays F1 Manager 24, and we're going to have a look at the team here, see how the team came about, and kind of get an idea, just give you guys a little background for the team. As first you see, we started out, I went with the generated drivers and staff. And we ended up with Herbert Gertling, who was 31. I decided I would kind of play it real and have an older guy and a younger. And Fujimoto, who was 19, and she started out as a 79. As you can see, during the season, she's managed to get up to 80. Unfortunately, it said that her training, she was still high on her training, but she's never gained more than 2 points in a training ever. So, meanwhile, Gertling was expanding like crazy. So, I think that was a little backwards. I think there was a little problem with the way the players are generated. Sometimes you just see crazy growth in older players, or every younger player is suddenly going to be Verstappen after one season, stuff like that. Anyway, so anyway, we had those two. Gertling, even though he was an 83, for whatever reason, he just could not get his act together. As you can see, the team didn't score any points, and he was 21st out of all the drivers, and she ended up 18th. And I'll go ahead and take a look at her stats here. One of the reasons is she's pretty good at... she started off with a pretty good overtake and defending. She's all pretty even here. Actually, kind of wondering about these ratings here, because why, if all her ratings are 70, how was she an 80? Okay, I have no idea. Later on in her career, she does have her stats in the 80s. So, all right. So anyway, and meanwhile, Gertling, he had a little bit higher rating. She was pretty much equal to him, but for whatever reason he could not get his act together. He kept crashing and stuff. First season, let's see here, go back. First season, the rules, we voted, there was gonna be like a 5% and a 10% reduction in the cars, and also it reduced the engines from 4 to 3, which, is like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna do this so the lower teams can compete better. It's like, how is making me spend $5 extra million per car gonna help me help the lower teams compete better? So yeah, I didn't believe that for a moment. Okay, as regards the board, I think what happened is we, of course, scoring 0 points. Standings. There we are, 0, 1 behind Alpine. Everybody, all the other bottom teams. You can see there was a huge gap between 6th and the 7th and the rest of us. And, so they wanted to stand up 9th. Of course, they gave us a critical failure for not doing that. However, the board confidence ended up low. Our racing performances weren't great, but every once in a while, we were able to pull out a few. We were able to get ourselves up to medium there. I think we were actually a little better about midway through the season. That's how we were able to build most of our equity in our board confidence. And yeah, we had a spot where we had to go negative. We were buying some parts for the car, for the powertrain. All right, so that was that season. So let's go ahead. The 24 season, we just built Gen 2 parts all around the car. We didn't go beyond that. So, that there wasn't much development of the car. Now, Gertling had said he was going to be with Haas. So I was like, okay. So I signed Yuki Tsunoda, but of course we had the contract bug, and when I was going through the beginning of the season, it said, oh, hey, you're missing a driver. And I'm like, what? So I ended up signing Lawson because he was sitting there as a free agent. And then I get a nasty letter from Red Bull's principal, Christian, going, we're going to get you and your little dog too. And I'm like, well, what, are you going to lap us more? How are you going to get us? Anyway, so this season, when I was developing the car, we actually did build, no, there's a missing wing, but we actually did build a Tier 3, not a Tier 3, but a Gen 3 chassis. Everything else is Gen 2, but this time we did build another chassis, and that made all the difference. You'll kind of be able to see, and might be able to see here in our results, if the board confidence, our race performance, they were happy. I think we had a crash here in Sao Paulo. Yeah, Fujimoto crashed out. And you can see here, we were able to get our board confidence to high. And it did not look, so I was okay with that, because it didn't look like we were going to make our goal of 8th. Yeah, of course we failed at getting 9th, so the next season they say, oh yeah, so end up 8th. I was like, okay, this is impossible. But no, right? We were able to, once we put that new chassis on, we were in the points almost every week. I think Sao Paulo was the only one we weren't. And let's see here. So we ended up with, I don't think I ended this right at the end of the season. I think that's why we got some mail here. Yeah. Championship results. Oh, those guys. Standings. There's the standings. 45-40. Came down to the last Vegas. We passed Kick-Sauber in Vegas. We were ahead by 1 point. And then we sweated it out, as the next race neither team made a point. And yeah, we were ahead. So we were ahead by a point. And then the last race, Ricardo crashed out. He was their main point, their points guy. And we managed to get 4. So we ended up with a 6th, and or a 7th place rather. No, what am I talking about? An 8th place. An 8th place for 4th. 4 points. Ended up with 45. So we had a chance. We were kind of clawing back on Mercedes, but we didn't quite make that. Okay, so what have I got built here for facilities? Okay, this was the end of last season. Okay. Alright, we had a Factory 2, Wind Tunnel 1, Suspension Simulator 3, Design Center 3. Okay, that was kind of the one upgrade I regretted, because I think I really needed that money elsewhere when I did it, and I'm not sure how much it actually helped us, because it didn't really open up add any more engineers or open up any more design slots. CFD simulators 1, car test was up to 3 by the end of the season, and I just have to say our chassis upgrade ended up being kick-ass, because once we did that, of course you can see by the end of the season everything is just collapsing as I'm just running out my parts at the end of the season. And but yeah, the chassis did everything for us. And then let's take a look at Fujimoto this season. Okay, yeah, look at her abilities this season compared to last season. And that's why I don't think last seasons were that accurate. But her overtaking and her defending, I'm still kind of wondering about this. I don't think her ratings are quite this high. I'm not sure. I'm kind of wondering if it's like taking the confidence ads and adding that in, and the morale ads, after qualifying or something, and then just leaving that in on their ratings, because it just looks totally inaccurate. She's an 82. she has all these 90s. I find that hard to believe. Anyway, so okay, and so anyway, that was it for 2025, and we had the unfortunate finish of the Shanghai race. Okay, let's see what she looks like here in her stats. You know, it says the same, but she says she's an 82, but like almost everything is 90. So, like I said, I don't know what her ratings actually are. I just know that she's pretty good in defending and overtaking whatever her ratings are. And that is one reason she's able to advance as well as she is through the field. Yeah, she can go from the back of the field into the points relatively easily. It's kind of surprising. Yeah, I mean, you look at how much better she is than Lawson. So there is something wrong with the way her ratings are being displayed. But yeah, the overtaking and defending, it's a huge difference. So yeah, he's kind of bottom feeding this time. The standings so far, we have 38 points. We gained 12. We ended up 4th last race, as the race ended up under a safety car. If the safety car had come out 1 lap earlier, we actually had or if it hadn't come out, we would have been on the podium. I'm pretty sure we were catching up with the Piastri. We were almost right there on him when the safety car came out, and then of course with the safety car, it bunched all the cars up. So heck, if it had happened a lap earlier, we might have. There was a chance we could win the race. Amazingly enough, just because our tires were a lot better off than everybody else's. So anyway, let's see if I change or refurbishing the factory. I know a lot of people don't like to refurbish, but realistically, a team that doesn't have a lot of money, they're going to be refurbishing. They aren't going to be buying new. You know, a lot of people like to, I got to save my money and buy the new thing, and I don't know. It just doesn't seem realistic to me. So, race simulator, we finally got that up to 5, which is where it should have been, but our guys weren't training all that great anyway, so, you know, it really ended up not, I don't think, costing the drivers too much. Still have our Scouts 2 operations. Yes, our Weather Center level 2, which we spend a lot of time. Well, you can see the accuracy is 52%. Because I usually use the Weather Center as one of the money-making things on the sponsor plan. So, all right. Look at the board confidence. The board's happy. Our objective's happy. The start of the year, we ended up minus 16 million. They want us to end up 5th or above, or we just dropped down to 6th. I don't know if we're going to do 5th. We can do 6th, but you kind of see here, Shanghai here, this has the end of last season and the beginning of this season. I just got the new parts on the next 3 parts on the car for Shanghai. We started the season at Secure with 3 new parts, and then I went ahead and put on the 3 other Gen 2 parts for Shanghai, and we ended up great. Like I said, we almost ended up on the podium. Anyway, that's it for a look at the team. Like I said, we had a bit of a disappointing end to last season, which was in the last video. You can probably just check in around minute 20, I think it is, and of the Shanghai race, and kind of see what happened. And anyway, we're hoping we can end up near our goal this season. I am getting ready to build a new part. I'm thinking of going with the chassis again, like I did last season. I'll just see how much it's going to add to the car. I liked what it did. Basically, cornering an entire length or a tire life is what ended up, I think, really doing us good. Anyway, so have a good evening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.